Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to the shenanigans. If you're back for more, then I'm glad you're enjoying something. This dates from about a month ago, and I got sidetracked, but I decided to make a video using these project bricks. Now there are a couple of they go by a couple different names. One of them is Creatology, and on the box it shows you all different sorts of things you can make. I think basically it's one company that makes these, and what they do is they just come out with different themes. This one is very patriotic, and then the other one I have has more of ancient Egypt feel to it. Now these are basically pre-cut styrofoam blocks that have been pre-treated with some kind of paint or whatever, but the paint does not seep into the grooves on the texture of the styrofoam. So you really do need to go back over and treat these. I find these at my big box stores like Michael's. They're also pretty expensive. So what I like to do is bundle this with a coupon and get these at a decent price. Now, these are pretty big as far as blocks go for 28 millimeter scaled minis or 32 millimeter scale minis, but there are buildings that do use bricks that are this size. The package shows all different ways to pinch these into different shapes, to cut them, and to do all sorts of cool things with them. What I'm going to do is just something really basic and then show how I harden my pieces, because I've already built my underground maze. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show how I make some simple modular columns for a scenario I wrote for Frostgrave. I came across these styrofoam building blocks when Frostgrave released the Breeding Pits supplement, and I wanted to create a new environment for the game, seeing as how it went down below underground, and I needed some dungeon tiles, and I wanted 3D dungeon tiles. So I think I had like a week or something to get these all put together. So I bought a bunch of these and made a maze and a labyrinth using cardboard as the base, and then I eventually graduated and started using wooden bases to keep them a little more durable. So today what we're going to make are these columns that you see here that I used for the scenario called Minotaur Likes Tartar, and I'll leave a little note up top. And although they're not the best looking pieces, they still make a really neat cohesive table, and I really haven't had anybody complain about the terrain. Here's how you work some of that coupon hustle. Now these stores want you to come into their establishment and spend money, and they're going to give you a coupon for 40% off to do so, hoping that you'll buy some extra crap while you're there. So follow along, and I'm going to show you how to get that coupon and work that hustle. But you got to have a little willpower. Go in there, get that one item, and leave. Fire up that smartphone, go to the Oracle Google, type in Michael's coupon, type in Joanne's coupon in two separate browsers, and bam, there are your coupon codes. There's usually some kind of UPC code for them to scan, some kind of barcode thing going on to scan for the clerk, and you're going to get your discount. Make sure you go to the store's website. Don't mess around with third-party coupon shenanigans. Get that on your phone, and all you have to do is wave that code at the cashier. Now, here's another cool thing, is that these stores honor each other's coupons, number one. And number two, there always seems to be a 40% off of a singular item coupon at these stores. Sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little less. You just go there, flash this little barcode. A lot of times they already know about the coupon and are just going to hit a button, but sometimes they scan it. And here's another sweet thing. You can use two coupons from different like two coupons on the same transaction, and one of them's from a different store. So in that little bit that I just showed you, there's a coupon for Joanne's and there's a coupon for Michael's. I could go to either Michael's or Joanne's, get two of those project brick things for 40% off, and instead of paying $15, it's a little bit cheaper. All right, now that that's out of the way and we've gotten through what we're going to use for the material, grab your hot glue gun. And what we're going to do is a really simple, basic design where I'm going to do 2 bricks by 2 bricks and then just alternate. So I have 2 facing one direction, and then I'm going to glue the next 2 and face them the opposite direction. So it just creates a little variance in the design. And so that no matter where you look at the column, it'll look the same. And for this project, for these columns, I decided making these 6 bricks high would be the perfect height for this scenario and for my games of Frostgrave. Here's a side shot of the layout that I'm going for with my design, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Once the columns have been assembled to your desired height, the next thing to do is to dab in the sealant that I like to use. I'll go ahead and put a card up top with the video I made with my sealant recipe. Here I let them dry overnight, and here's what everything looks like after they've been nice and dried. Then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and paint the bricks. To start out with, I used this color called Gray Storm for my base coat. Here are some walls I built for the Frostgrave game. And if you look here, I did a little bricks. I did different colors for these bricks, but they all have the base coat of this Gray Storm. So the first thing we want to do is put on a base coat of this gray. Now, going back to this chunk of wall that I made for our Frostgrave games, I wanted to add some variations in the brick coloring just to give it a little bit of a nice visual appeal. And for that, I chose this English Ivy Navy and this blue bonnet. Now, my big mistake was going too heavy with the blue, as we'll see later. I really wanted to get like a fantasy look. I also threw in some territorial beige. So what I did is I just picked out a couple of the project bricks and then just painted those of the colors. Now, unfortunately, I went a little too heavy on this, and the final result is not something that I liked. So what I did is we went ahead and played the game with the columns that I didn't like. And here is the exact problem. I went too heavy with that blue. I think I should have just gone very lightly with it. I was thinking that the dry brush technique, which I'll do next, was going to fix everything. And by the way, if you don't know this, use a loose powder makeup brush for your dry brushing technique. This is an old Mary Kay one that I found from my makeup kit because I do makeup. And like stage makeup. I'm not really good at prom or pretty girl stuff. But anyway, I do makeup, and I took one of my old brushes for dry brushing, and I'm in love with this technique. So take out your brush and get to town. I'm going to try for dry brushing. We're going to try this slate gray from the Deco Art. What progress is going on, and I've got 2 left. And I'm doing more of an overbrush than, say, a dry brush. Going in pretty hard, actually, especially towards the end of these, because I'm getting kind of tired. Ain't gonna lie, I'm getting kind of tired. The game is tomorrow, and the players have the potential to burst into a section of the Mad Mage that involves some drow who have taken over an old temple. This is in the Mad Mage, by the way, so spoilers. If you don't want to know what it's about, then turn off the audio, I guess. But players are gonna they've agreed. They made a deal with some hags, some sea hags, that Hallister, the Mad Mage, has hired to clean out the drow on this particular level, and I guess find out all sorts of shenanigans for the guy, for the wizard. And they have somehow convinced the players to do their bidding, which is interesting, because the last quest they totally bailed on, but this one they seem to be doing really well. And they've come in through like a back entrance and took out a Drider, which gave them all sorts of trouble and was hysterical the way they handled it. And then they stumbled across the torture chamber section of the Mad Mage, and there's all sorts of props to Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. There's all sorts of pansexual, drow, BDSM things going on there. Well, they interrupted that, and one of the players is drow, and we're saying the player and I have come together with his backstory. He's just learning. He's kind of new to D&D, so I suggested that he didn't really know much about where his drow mage was from. He knew he wanted him to be like of noble birth and stuff, so I suggested, well, why isn't he from a lesser house in Menzobenzaran, and you don't have to come up with the details right now because you're on. He's like, I want to be on the lam. I want to have done something, and he said something that I suggested wouldn't work out with the way the matron mothers work. So I said, well, why don't you just say like you stole like the spell book that your character has. You stole from the house, and it has damaged the mage of the house, the archmage, because you stole his book and ran away. I mean, that's enough right there to piss off a matron mother of a drow house. So that's what we're playing along with, and it just so happens that the drow houses in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage key in perfectly to Menzobenzaran. So that's where we're going with it. So there's a section coming up with the drow, and I need some columns in this temple. It's like a dwarven temple, and I know these really aren't dwarven themed. I wanted some generic columns regardless, so I don't want them to reflect any kind of particular anything. I just wanted kind of generic modular shapes, because we're going to use these in Frostgrave too. Probably more in Frostgrave than D&D, but who knows? I may be DMing a lot more recently coming up. So right now I'm just trying to get these a little more on the gray side. Get rid of some of this blue. We'll do before and after. Let's see, hopefully the colors will translate. The colors will translate. Now putting that on certain spots of the blue, because this is still too bright for my taste. I want something like a hint of blue in there. So let's see if I can find some that I've done. Yeah, here we go. Here's one that I've already done. It's still wet. I also got in the cracks with some of the wash. But whatever I did for this recipe, I cannot remember. I got the green right, but I can't remember what I did for this blue. It might have been this nautical. I might have done this nautical instead. You know what? I think it was that nautical. Well, it's too late now. Too late now, bitches. So I'm gonna try and fix this as best I can. on these. And I also went on top of a lot of these blue and this brown bit to tone down some of the color. And I think this did a really good job of separating the bricks and demonstrating the patterns that I used to lay these down. And now I'm going in and I am dry brushing. Get my dry brush going, and I just like to tap the edges, get a real subtle, but I think it is a nice step to get this good look going on these three pieces. A little bit of bam piece, and pieces of stonework, modular pieces that I will be using for columns in my D&D game tomorrow. But I think these can totally be used for other things as well, because they're great little modular pieces. And like I said, I just didn't like the look of the blue and that tan color on the columns. So I went ahead and went back and I repainted those to give them a more underground look. And for that, I chose this green that I found in the discount bin of one of my local game shops called Heroes, where I like to game. I'm on this thing this year where I'm trying not to spend extra money unless it's related to food, clothing that I need, or some sort of crafting supply. So when I go to my local game shop, I try and spend a couple bucks here and there. And one of my trips, I bought one of this paint, and it worked out perfectly. And once again, have to come back in with my dry brush. So we're gonna use that Storm Cloud Gray, because that's what I used before, and I thought, the blue just was poking me in the wrong way. This is still kind of bothering me, that tan color, but it's only on a few of them, and I'm going to pretend like I don't see it. So thank you very much for tuning into this video. I hope this inspires you to craft something for your gaming tables. These bricks, I do enjoy these project bricks, I have to say. I do enjoy the working with them, because they are simple, they're easy, they've already been cut. I know what to expect. I know I can get them for half that price that you see on the tag, and they do a good job making some impressive size stonework for your miniature tabletop games. So another cool thing I forgot to mention, I'll go ahead and put this down, is that you can go ahead and stack these up in all sorts of different ways if you want. So for instance, like bam, I just made some walls, some sizable walls, see? So you can rearrange these and use these in different ways. You don't have to just stick to using these with columns. But there you go, there you have it, and have a good one.